The federal courthouse in downtown Denver was packed for what should have been a routine misdemeanor case. Thomas Reed, 78 years old, stood accused of trespassing on private property after refusing to leave a Veterans Memorial site during a protest against its proposed demolition. He wore a worn suit that had seen better days, his silver hair neatly combed, and around his neck hung the Medal of Honor on its distinctive blue ribbon. Judge Catherine Morrison presided over the crowded courtroom with her characteristic no-nonsense demeanor. As Reed approached the defendant's table, she noticed the medal immediately. Her expression shifted from neutral to suspicious. If you're wondering where this story goes, hit that like button and comment if you think some medals carry truths that transcend courtrooms. Mr. Reed, Judge Morrison said sharply, before we proceed, I need to address something. That medal you're wearing, the Medal of Honor. Are you aware that wearing military decorations you haven't earned is a federal crime under the Stolen Valor Act? The courtroom grew quiet, spectators leaning forward to hear Reed's response. Reed looked down at the medal, then back at the judge, his weathered face showing no fear. Yes, Your Honor, I'm aware of the law. The judge's expression hardened. Then you're admitting to wearing an unauthorized decoration? Sir, that's a serious offense. I'm going to have to ask you to remove that medal immediately, and I'm considering adding charges of stolen valor to your case. The prosecutor stood, sensing an opportunity. Your Honor, if I may, the defendant has no military record on file. We ran a background check as part of discovery. There's no documentation of Thomas Reed serving in any branch of the military, let alone receiving the Medal of Honor. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Several spectators shook their heads in disgust at what appeared to be a clear case of stolen valor. Reed remained calm, his hands folded in front of him. Your Honor, with respect, I can explain, but I prefer to do so with my attorney present. He's running late due to traffic. Judge Morrison's patience was clearly wearing thin. Mr. Reed, I'm ordering you to remove that medal right now. Wearing it in my courtroom is an insult to every veteran who actually earned it. Now, before we continue, if this story has you captivated, please subscribe and turn on notifications. What happens next will shock the entire courtroom. Before Reed could respond, the courtroom doors burst open with enough force to make everyone turn. A four-star general in full dress uniform strode down the aisle, his chest covered in ribbons and decorations, his bearing radiating authority that made even the bailiff stand straighter. Major General Robert Chun moved with purpose, his aides struggling to keep pace behind him. Your Honor, the general's voice carried across the courtroom like a command, I respectfully request permission to approach the bench. This matter requires immediate clarification. Judge Morrison, clearly surprised by the interruption, nevertheless maintained her composure. General, this is highly irregular. I'm in the middle of proceedings. I understand, Your Honor, but this cannot wait. The general reached the judge's bench and spoke loud enough for the entire courtroom to hear. You just ordered a Medal of Honor recipient to remove his medal. That man standing at the defendant's table is Master Sergeant Thomas Reed, retired. He earned that medal in Vietnam, February 1968, near Hue City. I have his official military records here. He produced a folder from his aide. The judge's expression shifted from certainty to confusion. General, the prosecution just stated there's no record of this man's military service. General Chun's jaw tightened. That's because Master Sergeant Reed's service records were classified for 47 years under a special access program. His Medal of Honor was awarded for actions during a classified operation. That wasn't declassified until 2015. His name doesn't appear in public databases because his entire Unit S existence was denied for decades. He opened the folder, displaying official documents with military seals and classification stamps. Master Sergeant Reed and his team conducted deep reconnaissance missions behind enemy lines. On February 18, 1968, his six-man team was compromised and surrounded by 2 full companies of North Vietnamese regulars. Reed held off the enemy for 9 hours while his wounded teammates were extracted one by one. He was the last man out, wounded 3 times, having single-handedly eliminated over 40 enemy combatants. His Medal of Honor citation was classified until the operation was finally acknowledged. The courtroom was dead silent. The prosecutor, who'd been so confident moments ago, sat down slowly, his face pale. Judge Morrison examined the documents, her hands actually trembling. "General, why wasn't this information provided earlier? Why doesn't Mr. Reed have proper documentation?" General Chun's voice softened slightly, but remained firm. "Because Master Sergeant Reed is old school, Your Honor. He doesn't talk about his service. He doesn't carry his DD to 214 in his wallet. He doesn't tell people he's a Medal of Honor recipient. Until today, when he wore that medal to court specifically to honor the veterans whose memorial he was trying to protect, most people who know him have no idea what he did for this country." The general turned to face Reed directly. "Master Sergeant, I apologize that you had to endure this. Your service should never be questioned." Reed smiled slightly. "No apology necessary, General." The judge was doing her job. She was right to question. Too many people do wear decorations they haven't earned. General Chun addressed the courtroom. "Let me tell everyone here who Thomas Reed really is. After Vietnam, he served in classified operations for another 20 years. He trained special forces, developed tactics still used today, and served in conflicts you'll never hear about. He retired in 1988 with the rank of Master Sergeant, but his contributions to this nation's security extended far beyond rank. There are fewer than 3,500 Medal of Honor recipients in American history. You're looking at one of them." Judge Morrison set down the documents, her professional composure cracking slightly. "Mr. Reed, I apologize profusely. I should have investigated further before making accusations." Reed waved his hand. "No harm done, Your Honor. You were protecting the integrity of the medal." "That's exactly what should happen." The prosecutor stood, his earlier confidence completely gone. "Your Honor, in light of this information, the state moves to dismiss all charges against Mr. Reed. His actions at the memorial site were those of a veteran trying to protect sacred ground. We should never have brought charges." Judge Morrison nodded. "Motion granted. All charges dismissed." But she wasn't finished. "Mr. Reed, would you tell us why you were at that memorial site? Why you refused to leave?" Reed's voice was quiet but carried clearly. "That memorial has the names of 17 men from my high school who died in Vietnam. 3 of them were on my team during that mission in Hue. They died so I could live. The developer who wants to tear it down called it an eyesore reducing property values. I couldn't let their names be erased without speaking up," General Chun added. "Your Honor, I came here today because I heard what was happening. Master Sergeant Reed doesn't ask for special treatment. He doesn't use his Medal of Honor to open doors or gain privileges. But sometimes, people like him need someone to speak up for them the way they spent their lives speaking up for all of us through their service." Judge Morrison stood, and the entire courtroom rose with her. "Master Sergeant Reed, this court apologizes for any indignity you suffered today. Your charges are dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot be refiled. Additionally, I'm issuing a judicial recommendation that the city reconsider the memorial demolition, and I'm personally going to make some calls to ensure your brothers' names remain honored." Reed's eyes grew moist. "Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I wanted. Just for them to be remembered." As he turned to leave, the courtroom erupted in applause. Veterans in attendance stood at attention. The general saluted, and Reed returned it with the precision of a man who'd done it thousands of times. This story reminds us that the most accomplished warriors often walk among us without fanfare, that questions should be asked but assumptions should be avoided, and that some medals represent sacrifices we can barely imagine. It reminds us that classified service means heroes go unrecognized for decades, and that protecting the integrity of decorations sometimes means challenging those who legitimately earned them. If this touched your heart, please share it. Drop a comment about veterans who served in silence. Let's honor those whose service was classified, whose sacrifices were secret, whose heroism was denied until truth finally emerged. Thank you for watching, and remember, the quiet person beside you might carry honors beyond imagination.